Thank you for all of you being here on a Friday night to have a full house here to hear about this important issue in our community and how it's harming our community and what we need to do. So first it begins with you and your interest and your passion, and for those of you who have been impacted by this, thank you for being part of the solution, for taking that pain and that difficulty and just unimaginable situations that may have faced you with loved ones in your life, and to be able to now help others in a similar situation. We really appreciate that. When Mike and I talked about having this event, we had been here when the museum opened, and we're so thrilled that all of the kids in Loudoun County schools and high school are going to be here. That's a requirement this year, that they come and visit this DEA museum. And that Sheriff Chapman, with his background, having worked with the DEA, was able to get this here in our community so that we could all educate ourselves and so that our kids can see the faces. I mean, it is really tough when you look at the cost of the theme here is the cost to the body, cost of lost talent, the people that we've lost to this devastating drug. You know how painful this is. I was speaking with my priest the other day, and he had come back from burying a nephew. And he had seen that we had been out talking. He goes, I had no idea what a big problem this was. It was a young man at the beginning of his life, great family, and he just got caught up in this. You know what the path of this is often. A friend of my family, a young man who is fortunately now in recovery, he found himself battling this drug, common path, where he was a great athlete. He got an injury. Tough kid, he wanted to play through the pain because he loved his sport and he had to keep going. So he got addicted to opioids. He'd get into college, boys are boys, you're drinking, you're doing other things, and then you cross that line and you end up with this drug that unfortunately now is cheaper than the opioids and the prescription drugs. So they get addicted to it, and it is such a deadly and dangerous drug. So we wanted to have this event tonight to really focus on how we can all come together as a community through on the state and federal and local level, making sure that all of our resources at each level are going to be used in the best way, but most importantly that we all understand that this problem can hit anybody. It doesn't have, it is non-discriminatory, unfortunately. It hits every family, every race. It is out there and dangerous in our community. So thank you for being here. I just want to tell you a few things that we are doing now and working with all of our officials. Is we are working on an appropriations letter that has already received over 80 signatures that will provide increased resources for the high-intensity drug trafficking areas. And we in the Washington area are already impacted by that, so we do get those extra resources. But Winchester doesn't get this yet, and actually a lot of the drugs were initially coming down through Baltimore or up through Richmond, hitting in Winchester, then coming east. So we want to make sure that Winchester is included in that, and I'm working with my colleagues on our bipartisan heroin task force to make sure we can get more resources to the problem. And we also have a bill that's called Promoting Responsible Opioid Prescribing Act. And what is happening is this legislation is going to help break the cycle and lead to better doctor, family, and patient pain management strategies, because oftentimes doctors are sort of almost required to overprescribe, or they might get a bad write-up. And so we want to make sure that that is not the case, and that we won't have a flawed patient review system making the doctors overprescribe these drugs. Another bill that I expect we'll be taking up very soon in the House has already been passed in the Senate by my good friend Rob Portman, who was a congressman when I used to work with Congressman Wolf, and now he's a senator from Ohio. And he has been out there on the hustings talking to the people who are impacted by this. And he and members of the House on a bill that I've co-sponsored is the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act. So now it's passed the Senate, it's coming over to be taken up in the House, and I'm very hopeful that we'll just be able to pass it as is. We expect the President will sign it. It is community-based anti-drug coalitions providing them support, as well as a national education campaign on this, which will help rebuild our communities, deter young people from ever trying this drug, and then stalling the increase of addicts, and then importantly, dealing with those who are impacted and making sure that they are getting that coordinated response.